Most people who bought a Bitcoin miner in 2025 are either breaking even or losing money, and they had no idea that was going to happen before they spent $10,000. Mining Bitcoin in 2026 is not the passive income dream you've been sold. But here's the thing. For a specific type of person, in a specific situation, it is absolutely still worth doing. This video is going to tell you exactly where you fall. We're doing the real math with real hardware prices, real electricity numbers, and zero hype. Stick with this for 8 minutes and you will know more about Bitcoin mining economics than 90% of the people currently running rigs. Let's start with the single most important number in Bitcoin mining right now. The network hash rate is approaching 1 zettahash per second. 1 zettahash. That is 1 trillion gigahashes every single second, and it is a record high. What does that actually mean for you? It means the global pool of miners competing for every block reward is larger and more powerful than it has ever been in Bitcoin's history. The network difficulty, which is Bitcoin's built-in mechanism that adjusts every 2 weeks to keep block times at roughly 10 minutes, has been climbing in lockstep with that hash rate. When more computing power joins the network, your individual machine becomes a smaller and smaller fraction of the total. That fraction is what determines how much Bitcoin you earn. So the machine that made sense to buy in 2023 is earning measurably less today simply because the network got more competitive around it. Here is the honest picture for a home miner in 2026. You are competing against industrial-scale operations, billion-dollar publicly traded companies, and massive data center farms that have access to electricity rates, cooling infrastructure, and capital that no individual can match. That does not automatically mean mining is dead for you. It means the margin for error is razor thin, and the variables that used to be optional to understand, electricity cost, hardware efficiency, hosting fees, are now the entire game. Get those wrong and you are not building passive income, you are paying a Bitcoin company to hold your money.
Let's run the actual numbers. At current network difficulty, 1 terahash per second of mining power earns approximately 4.5 cents per day. That is roughly 428 satoshis. Hold that number in your head. Now look at the hardware. The top-performing home-accessible miner right now is the Bitmain Antminer S21 XP Plus Hydro, which puts out around 500 terahashes per second at an efficiency of approximately 11 joules per terahash. That is genuinely impressive efficiency for this generation of hardware. The problem is the price. You're looking at somewhere in the $15,000 to $17,000 range. Hydro cooling also adds setup complexity that most homes are not ready for. A more realistic option is the Bitdeer SealMiner A2 Pro, 255 terahashes per second, 14.9 joules per terahash efficiency, and at 6 cents per kilowatt-hour electricity, it generates roughly $4 per day in gross revenue. That sounds decent until you do the full math. At $4 per day, you need 1,000 days, nearly 3 years, just to recoup a $4,000 hardware cost. If your hardware costs $10,000, you are looking at a 7-year break-even.
Now let's talk about how you actually collect your earnings, because this is where a lot of new miners make a critical mistake. Solo mining means your machine works independently, and if it solves a block, you collect the entire block reward, currently 3.125 BTC plus transaction fees. That sounds attractive until you understand the odds. With a consumer-grade miner doing 255 terahashes per second against the network running close to 1 zettahash, your probability of solving a block solo in any given day is statistically close to 0. You could run that machine for years and never hit a block. Solo mining in 2026 is a lottery ticket. It is not a business model. Pool mining is the practical choice. Thousands of miners combine their hash rate and split the block rewards proportionally. Your payouts become small, consistent, and predictable, which is exactly what you need to track your break-even timeline accurately. The major pools worth considering are Foundry USA, the largest pool by hash rate, F2 Pool, which has been around since 2013, and Luxor, a strong option for US-based miners. All three have transparent fee structures, generally in the 0 to 2.5% range. Here is the practical path to get started. Step 1, hardware selection based on your electricity rate and budget. Step 2, power setup. ASICs require 240-volt circuits and draw significant amperage, so factor in potential electrician costs. Step 3, optionally, run a Bitcoin Core node for full network participation. Currently requires around 600 gigabytes of storage. Step 4, mining software. Most modern ASICs have a built-in web dashboard for pool configuration. Step 5. Pool configuration. Enter your worker credentials and Bitcoin wallet address. Step 6. Monitoring. Track daily earnings versus electricity cost and watch for temperature spikes.
So, should you mine Bitcoin in 2026? Here is the honest framework. If your electricity cost is under 7 cents per kilowatt hour, genuinely on your actual utility bill, and you can afford $4,000 or more in hardware without that money being critical to your financial stability, and you are thinking in terms of a 2 to 5 year horizon, then yes, mining can make sense for you, especially if you believe in Bitcoin's long-term price appreciation, because the Bitcoin you mine and hold compounds in value if the price rises. If your electricity is at average U.S. residential rates, or your capital is limited, or you are expecting a quick return, then the honest answer is that dollar-cost averaging into Bitcoin on Coinbase will outperform mining in almost every realistic scenario. You skip the hardware risk, the electricity overhead, the setup complexity, and the operational maintenance. You just buy Bitcoin regularly over time. Mining is not dead, but it is no longer casual. It is a capital-intensive, operationally demanding business that happens to involve crypto. Treat it like one, or buy Bitcoin the easy way. In the next video, we are breaking down which U.S. states and countries have electricity rates that actually make mining viable in 2026. That is the video that will tell you whether your zip code is a mining opportunity or a dead end. If this gave you the real picture on mining, drop a like. It helps more people find this instead of the hype content. Subscribe if you want the no-nonsense breakdown every week. And that next video on mining geography drops soon. Do